a lot of it was moving people that we knew they were the right fit for the company, but maybe they weren't in the right position. So it was restructuring them into a different position in which they thrived. When we first started, I thought it was better than I expected. But as you know, you really do need to scale it. You have to continue to pump money in. Overall, I'd say it's a solid marketing channel. I think industry average for wholesale deals is like 10 to 15,000. And I know our average TV deal is higher than that. I think we're at like 25 to 30,000 per deal. You have to provide almost like white collar, like legal services in a way where you kind of tee them up to work with an attorney, but you diagnose the problem. It's a lot of consultative selling, in my opinion. Some complicated problems that even some homeowners have told us, other attorneys said, this can't be done. And we're like, no, we'll figure it out. And we did. You can have a lot of money and be miserable at what you do. And I don't think that's necessarily success. I think to a large extent, are you financially in a good spot? But also, do you have independence and freedom to be able to call the shots and do what you want?
Welcome to the Real Estate Masters podcast, where we bring you the top real estate investors in the country. If you also want to be in the top 1%, you are in the right place. Listening to podcasts like this is exactly what helped me to scale my real estate investing business to 7 figures, flip over 1,000 houses, and more importantly, step out of daily operations of my business over a decade ago so I could start and grow other businesses. So get ready to learn from the best and start building a business that works for you and not the other way around. Enjoy.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Dominic, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today. I know you guys have been in the business in South Florida for a long time. What do you credit your success to in this field?
Well, first off, thank you for having me on here. I appreciate you allowing me to tell my story and give you a little bit of background on what we're doing. As far as success goes, I would say that one of the biggest things is making sure you have the right team in place from the very beginning. We are very particular about who we hire for our organization. We make sure that they have the attributes of an A player, that they're consistent, that they really want to work for the company, that they're actually passionate about what we're doing, but that they also fit into the culture that we've built. We have a bit of a hybrid model. So we have some people here domestically, but we got a lot of people that are working virtual. So I think we really credit what we've been able to do with our culture in this hybrid model. I don't think that's easy, but I would say it's putting the right team together that can just tackle and dominate what it is you're setting out to do.
I love it. And then for the people listening, what does the business look like today?
So today we have about 21 people on our team. So there's myself as the CEO. There's my business partner, Mark Rado, as the COO. We have a director of sales. So he's managing, obviously, all of our acquisitions people, which we have 3 acquisitions specialists locking up contracts, as well as our dispo specialists moving our contracts. We have a lead manager. We've got a team of about 7 or 8 cold callers. We have a transaction coordinator. She's awesome. And then we have a research specialist who's really focused on our data and finding really good opportunities that we don't believe anybody else is contacting. So building family trees, helping us identify those records, and then helping us make contact.
Awesome. And what does your marketing look like today? And how was it different than when you first started in the game?
Sure. So as I mentioned, we have a team of about 8 cold callers. I would say that's our bread and butter. And then we have a department called Intuitive Deals, which is really based on deep prospecting, going after those records that we don't believe a lot of other people are. That involves sometimes building a complicated family tree and contacting people that in a lot of cases just cannot be found. They live off the grid or they live out of the country. So that's our second marketing channel. And then our third marketing channel is TV ads, which I think is really unconventional, but it's been performing very, very well. We've been scaling it ever since we started in about, I think, July of 2024. And, we're seeing more and more progress from that as it continues to scale. And it's quickly becoming one of our top marketing channels. I was just going to say it's different from when we first started because a lot of it was just sweat equity. Actually, we first started with Bandit signs, putting those out in the early morning hours and pre-navigating areas we thought would get the most interaction in neighborhoods, not necessarily just major intersections. And then my business partner and I would just pull up to a coffee shop and cold call for hours on end ourselves. So a lot of sweat equity back then and manual stuff and persistence and resilience versus now there's a lot of automation. Because we've built such momentum, we're able to scale into these different avenues and automate them.
Want to get motivated sellers that nobody knows about? Introducing 10x TV. If you want to create credibility in your market, find deals that nobody else knows about, and crush your competition, you need to check into TV commercials. It is the new buzz in the real estate investing industry since we introduced it several years ago. I've been using TV commercials myself for the last 12 years and it's absolutely crushed it. So if you want to learn how to get on TV and to do something that little to no people are doing right now, go to claimmymarket.com. Again, that's claimmymarket.com. We usually only work with 2 investors per market, so if you're interested, reach out to us and book a call to see if you can claim your market before anybody else does. Now back to the show.
What's the biggest change that you've seen in the business since starting TV?
Since starting TV, for us, TV's gotten better and better. I think the big thing there is you got to stick with it. And I think you can't even really look at it on a 6 to 12 month basis. You really have to look at it on an 18-month basis, like a rolling average. And if you can hit a certain threshold from there, I think the momentum and the consistency is unlike a lot of other marketing channels. But you got to give it time. You have to have the capital. And I think you really need to have the back-ended team to be able to manage it, to take the calls in real time. Because if you're missing calls or you're a owner operator and you're on the phone and you can't take the call, like that's a problem. You need a team of people that can take those calls in real time and handle them. We've seen a lot of momentum in that, and there's more and more people calling us. I think we're seeing more motivated situations. I think the real estate market's corrected since we first started. You guys back in 2024, it's corrected even more. And I think a lot of people are kind of turned off by working with realtors. They're seeing days on market gradually go up and up and up, and they just want a quick solution with the cash buyer. So we've seen a lot of progress, and a lot of our deals are super complicated as far as cold calling and intuitive, right? We're solving probate, inheritance issues, super big encumbrances, liens, judgments, title issues. But with a lot of TV, it's just people that really want to relocate, and they're just kind of like, hey, just take it off my hands. I'm moving out of state by this time, and I need a solution now. And they're pretty competent, easy to work with sellers for the most part.
I love that. I love that. Talking about your team, has your team changed at all since starting TV?
Yeah. I would say last year we went through a restructure phase. Moved people from one position to the next. We saw some people leave. A lot of it was moving people that we knew they were the right fit for the company, but maybe they weren't in the right position. So it was restructuring them into a different position in which they thrived. For instance, our guy that's taking the majority of the TV calls, he used to be a cold caller, and now he's our head lead manager, and he's taking a lot of those calls in real time. So yeah, we've seen a lot of change on our team for the better, but the restructuring has really elevated us going into 2026.
I love it. I love it. Was the cost of TV more than what you thought it was before you originally had that first sales call with me? Or like, what was your thoughts on the actual spend that it took to, dominate in your market?
When we first started, I thought it was better than I expected. But as you know, you really do need to scale it. You have to continue to pump money in. So that was our philosophy, is we'll start with the base budget that you guys suggested. We started seeing some results. And as we did, we started to pump more money that we got from those deals back into the TV marketing and scaling it. I know we just had a call with you guys, I think last week, to scale into another market. So overall, I would say it depends on the market you're into. Like some markets, it's like, oh man, that's pretty expensive. But by and large, I think it's a pretty fair deal considering the brand recognition you get and the ROI.
Yeah. Speaking of the, credibility, the brand building, is there any specific deals that you can remember that, that TV credibility really paid off?
There's a lot. I mean, I'd have to go through my sales report. We get a lot of just older people, hey, we saw you on TV. I've had other people, I can't remember the exact deal off the top of my head, but I know there were several where it was like they had other investors approaching them or calling them, but they saw us on TV and they're like, look, these guys are offering a little bit more than you, but because you're on TV, we want to work with you. So that's what we're going to do. So 100% definitely gives you credibility over the competition.
Yeah. Have you seen a difference in the margins as far as the deals go from your other forms of marketing to the TV? Like, have you seen any bigger deals average wise, or are they kind of similar?
It really depends on the deal. I mean, we've had some deals from TV that were $60,000 to $80,000. We've had some that were like 15, 20, 25. So I'd say it really depends on the situation of the property, but overall, I'd say it's a solid marketing channel. I think industry average for wholesale deals is like 10 to 15,000, and I know our average TV deal is higher than that. I think we're at like 25 to 30,000 per deal, so about 2 to 3 times what industry average is.
Awesome, awesome. When did you kind of realize that you were the, authority in your market?
Well, we had a really bad hurricane in 2022, and then that was when the real estate market first started to shift. We had that super, super big high from COVID where prices just kept appreciating and appreciating. And you had a correction. I think it was right around June, July of 2022. And so those two things in our markets, I think, wiped out a lot of competition. You had title companies closed for months. So it was like you couldn't really have any income coming in, especially if you had a team. So we started to realize like we really were the authority, I think, later on in that year going into 2023. So a couple, I would say 3, 4 months after that event. And then just started noticing people saying, oh, we know about you guys. We've heard about you. We've seen the deals you've done. And so it was like, okay, we can take this a step further and really build our brand through, our YouTube channel, TV ads, our social media content. And from there, and I think a lot of people take an approach of trying to sell themselves as a guru. And we didn't necessarily want to do that. We would rather show our brand and what we can do for homeowners and the solutions we can provide. And I think that's a very unconventional approach. Most people are trying to sell their personal brand. We're trying to sell the brand of an organization that we want a lot of people to be aware of and know that, hey, this is an option for you if you're in a situation that you feel like you can't solve by yourself.
Yeah, for sure. The market's in a really interesting spot right now. What would you say is the biggest change that you've seen in the market in the last 3 to 6 months?
In the last 3 to 6 months, I would say, the deals you're going after, actual distress. You have to actually provide value. It's not just like, oh, your house is vacant and you're absentee owner. Like, here's what we're going to offer you. Now you really have to go in and you have to provide almost like white collar, like legal services in a way where you kind of tee them up to work with an attorney, but you diagnose the problem. It's a lot of consultative selling, in my opinion. It's not just like, oh, we're going to offer you this and you guys accept it. Like, you really have to solve some complicated problems that even some homeowners have told us. Other attorneys said, this can't be done. And we're like, no, we'll figure it out. And we did. So I would say that's the biggest thing is you actually have to solve problems now. You have to go after distress and things that are not easy. And if you don't have the legal framework or mind or experience, it's going to be difficult to do that. And a lot of it requires capital to help these people solve things in order to get rid of judgments or encumbrances or whatever the distress points are.
Yeah, I love it. Looking back to when you started with you and Mark just slinging cold calls to where you're at now, built a big team, have had a lot of success in the market. Do you ever kind of like just look back to that beginning part and where you're at now and just kind of like sit in that, just success of it?
Yeah, all the time. We were just talking about that. We're actually coming up on our 7-year anniversary this year. So we're going to drop a YouTube video trying to go back and look at old footage we took from back in the day of us, assembling Bandit signs and just grinding in those early days. But I think about it all the time, and it's crazy to think how far you can come in 5, 6, 7 years if you just are resilient enough. I think anybody can do anything if they just stick with it. But yeah, reminiscing gets nostalgic at times for sure.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Talking about the word success, I feel like everyone's got their own definition for it. And a lot of times it changes over the years, but, how do you define the word success? How do you measure it and how do you strive for it every single day?
I think obviously part of success is financial, but I think a lot of people get that misconstrued and they base all of success on that because you can have a lot of money and be miserable at what you do. And I don't think that that's necessarily success. I think to a large extent, it's, are you financially in a good spot, but also do you have independence and freedom to be able to call the shots and do what you want when you want without being beholden to, somebody else. But also, do you enjoy what you're doing? Do you have a good team that you work with? Do you enjoy the people that you're trying to conquer these goals with? I think if all those things, the answer is yes, then that is a good determiner of success. But the biggest thing is like, do you enjoy what you're doing? Are you actually getting compensated for it? That to me is the true definition of success. But also, I think even more than that, impacting other people that you're working with, whether that's the team that you're hiring. There's people that have come on our team that they've had their lives changed simply because they stuck with us and the trajectory of their lives became more quote unquote financially successful. Their families became more successful. So that to me is success, is helping those people, but also, providing value to the marketplace with these sellers. It is great to see like we can do something for them where if we didn't, the competition wouldn't have done it for them and they probably would have lost the property. So it's really good to see, a win-win for everybody, our team and the people we hire, and also the sellers that we're working with on a daily basis.
I love it. You know, I'm curious. If you were to start from scratch, the business completely went away, you get to keep all the knowledge that you've learned over the years, and you were trying to rebuild, what would be the first thing that you focused on to rebuild what you have now?
Um, I would like to say two things, man, but I'd say the first thing would be like sniping after really good margin opportunities, going through data and finding that opportunity that like this is going to be a big deal if I can make contact. So keeping your margins and your costs low, but going after deals with huge upside. That's what I would do. But I'd also really want to focus on the brand, which is what we've done with TV and social media and things like that. But those would be the things that I would focus on for sure.
Yeah. What kind of drives you to keep innovating and, keep pushing?
Yeah, I mean, we really want to take this to the next level. We want to continue to build our investment portfolio and cherry pick some of the better deals, but also get into bigger and better things like developing. And I think all of it's kind of a trajectory and a stepping stone. I mean, the deals that we were doing 5, 6, 7 years ago are definitely much different than the deals we're doing now. The deals we're doing now are much more complicated, like I mentioned, but the upside on them is a lot higher. So I think really building something, and I like the idea of just creating something from nothing and watching it grow, which is what we've done. But also, impacting more and more lives and trying to be a benefit to the marketplace and seeing, the more we grow and the more we stick with it and the more we have a bigger and better vision, the more lives we can truly affect and help in the end of the day.
Yeah. And I know you kind of mentioned it earlier, but you're going into a new market. I'm almost 100% positive you're mostly just, belly to belly with the people in your market. Are you going to be doing, belly to belly in the new market, or are you going to be doing kind of like a hybrid model, or what's kind of your plan for the new market?
So yeah, Mark and I spoke about it. We're definitely going to do TV in that new market, but we're also going to start pulling data, which we otherwise were not doing. So we're going to start attacking it from every angle on the cold call side, the deep prospecting side, as well as the TV side. And I think all those things combined are going to really help our brand credibility in those in that market and make us really competitive with other investors that are already there.
I love it. I love it. What would you tell your past self before you ran TV, like about TV?
I'd say that we're used to doing deals that have a higher cash conversion cycle just because there's a lot of legal problems, but that these deals are a lot quicker and they're a lot easier. So it's a really good diversification amongst your marketing channels to have it because you can get deals that, I think our quickest one we've closed was in 2 weeks, which is unusual. I think a lot of deals take longer than that. But I would say it's a really good diversification mechanism to have quicker deals in addition to the longer cycle deals.
Yeah, 100%. What would you say to an investor that's relying on just texting, cold calling, or just outbound in general with no inbound?
I'd say you really need to get some guerrilla marketing going on. You really need to have some diversification because, if something happens with phone carriers and they shut down, and they have already passed regulation towards this, but some of these phone carriers are getting pickier and pickier. You really need to diversify to cover your basis and make sure that, you know, you have some people calling you versus you just calling everybody. Because if you're not able to call, then you don't really have any other leads or marketing or opportunities coming into your bucket or your pipeline.
Yeah. Has TV gotten anything that, you haven't really, besides deals, like any, private money raising or any special treatment or anything like that? Have you guys seen anything of that sort?
Actually, yeah. Several of the deals that we got from TV, TV helped our brand credibility, and we worked with a private money person to actually take down some of those deals and wholesale them. I think actually 3 or 4 of our last TV deals were through that. So I think the TV definitely helped our credibility and the ability to secure that private money. But it's also opened some doors in terms of people taking us much more seriously than I think they do other competitors in our industry.
I love it. I love it. Well, if this resonates with you and you want to become the authority in your market and do something that 99% of investors aren't doing, go to 10xtv.co to apply and see if your market's available. We do a free marketing audit and just kind of go through your market. So, Dominic, I appreciate you for coming on. It's been awesome. It's been great having you on. Looking forward to getting you crushing your second market. And if anyone's interested in reaching out to you, or maybe there's someone that has some money that wants to invest in what you guys are doing, what's the easiest way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so you can you can visit our website, flsellnow.com. You can reach me by email, dominic.andreoli@flsellnow.com. Or you can visit our YouTube channel, send us a message there, we respond, or our Facebook social media.
Awesome. Again, Dominic, thank you so much for coming on. Everyone, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.